What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, announcing the 75 basis point hike, the largest hike in about 28 years. So they're really going against inflation stuff. And luckily, the market kind of got this leaked news to expect this hike. So the crash and collapse we saw over the last couple days is actually in reaction to that. So we have a green day today. I don't know if it's that great, but at least it's green a little bit. So we are, looking at these interest rate hikes, basically control the market, and it sucks to see that, but that's just where we are right now. But we can see right here that this was the biggest interest rate hike in 28 years. Experts worry its fight against inflation will spark a recession. The reason people are worried about that is because the rate hikes that the Fed does when it hikes rates, those aren't felt until like 6 months after they're made. So if you go super aggressive and your goal is a soft landing, which I mean the Fed's never done, so we probably won't see that. But if that's your goal, then you need to do a little bit bigger hikes, but then wait a longer period of time to see how they impact, which is crazy to think that the experts in this field don't know what's going to happen. So, well, how are they experts? You can see the largest rate hike. We already know that. And driving experts to increase the question whether the economy is headed towards a recession. I think we're already in one. We had the negative GDP print last quarter. If we have another one this quarter, then we'll be in an official recession, at least on paper. Even if we get a positive GDP report, we're pretty much still in a recession. Who cares if it's on paper or not? People take that as a win for the Fed if it's not a recession on paper, and maybe things will ease up a bit. But the way people are acting, it feels like a recession. People aren't spending, people are saving, people aren't confident in the Fed, they're not confident in the leadership, they're not confident in the economy. All of that's pretty much what a recession is, even if we're not in one on paper. Though Fed Chair Jerome Powell said last month that officials were not actively considering a 75 basis point hike and would instead institute another half-point hike. That is not what happened. This is another big problem that the Fed has, is you can't listen to what they're saying. They never do what they say. This last meeting, Jerome Powell said, we're not even considering 75 basis point hike. This meeting, the very next meeting, he does it. So how can you trust what the Fed says if they don't even know what they're saying? They don't even know what they're doing. So you can't trust them. Big problem in the market. If you can't trust what the Fed's saying, that's a massive problem. You can't predict things accurately. That's why you get massive volatility up and down. And when you think the Fed might do something and they end up not doing it, but then the next meeting they end up doing it, you just get a lot of uncertainty that adds to what the market wants to go down, because the market wants predictability, not unpredictability. And with this Fed, we've seen time and time again, they don't do what they say. And we have intensity of future rate hikes have grown more aggressive amid stubborn price gains and criticism that the central bank waited too long to start rate hikes. They probably did wait way too long. The economy is drunk on cheap money, and getting it out of there is not going to be a fun time. But I don't think anyone has very much confidence in the Fed. Consumers don't. Investors definitely don't. So, and just another weird thing to look at this quote from an expert, from these people that are supposed to know what they're doing, saying whether the Fed's actions lead to a marked slowdown or an outright contraction will become clear over the quarters to come. If you're such an expert, shouldn't you be able to accurately predict this, to know the policies they're doing will most likely do this? But if you can't, like, no one's an expert in here. Nothing in finance, no matter what, whether it's influencers up to the Federal Reserve, no one has any idea what they're doing, which is crazy because all the experts that are supposed to be experts, none of them are. Nowhere on the spectrum. Influencers to Federal Reserve, hedge fund managers, people on Wall Street, nobody knows what's going to happen. Everything is unpredictable. It's just kind of weird to think about. The experts, not really experts. We know the next Fed meeting, July 27th, 2 weeks after the inflation data for June is released. Economists said they now expect the Fed will hike rates by another 75 basis points in July. So the market should be pricing that in. So if we get 75 basis point hike in July, should go as expected. shouldn't shock the market. If we get more, going to shock the market, it's going to crash. If we get less, it's also going to shock the market, but in a good way where they're not going as hard. Maybe inflation curves a bit and then the market will rally. So those are the two kind of outcomes we're looking at. But we do have a bank here saying they correctly called this rate hike. And now they say that it's going to be a 50 basis point rate hike in July because of the economic slowdown and probably recession threats. So if the market's pricing in the 75 and we get a 50, then that's going to be better than expected. And then the market will probably rally. Maybe we can start the little bit of a rally there. All of this really depends on inflation data, where if inflation data curves down substantially for a couple months and we get good readings for this month, good readings for next, then we could probably see that we'll get more favorable interest rate stuff going on. If it doesn't curve down and goes up, we're screwed. We see in the market right here a little bit of a green day. So we had the major collapse on the news coming out, the leaks, kind of the Fed pushing out the news they're going to do 75 basis point hike, and the market absolutely collapsed for a few days, finally turning green. If we zoom in a little bit, we can see the curved up. So we had these massive collapse on the news, 340 bottom, and then starting this move up because we got what we expected. Already priced it in, got what we expected. Who knows what's going to happen? It's literally just seems very random at this point, where every rally gets sold off and every rally is unpredictable in how much it will rally. So just a little bear market rally stuff until we finally get inflation under control and then interest rates under control. And then the Fed won't have so much power over the market because of those things not being the biggest worry in everyone's mind. And we have US rate futures priced in 93% chance of a 75 basis point hike in July. So we can see the vast majority, almost the entire market, pricing in the 75 basis point hike. So if we get this bank that said we're going to see 50, if we get 50, we'd have to get good inflation readings. We get 50, that would be a great sign for the market. We would see it rally, because if it's all basically everyone's expecting 75, we get better than that. Maybe things are moving into a better direction. Things are getting better. We see the rally start there. So that's going to be something we're looking at. So July 27th is what we're going to be waiting for, that news to come out, seeing what happens. And it's going to be a big thing, because if it goes as planned or worse, then the bear market continues and we go in for probably an 18-month bear market. There's which we've been in for like a few months by now. So, and just to wrap all of this up, we see that people are kind of discussing that Jerome Powell and the Fed not sticking to what they're saying. A big problem. Saying literally last month on May 4th, Powell from the Federal Reserve said that 75 basis point rate hike was not actively considered. So this is a major problem. And although, I mean, you can see the reply right here. Good thing he can change his mind, unlike some people. That's not the point. The point is, you can't trust the Federal Reserve. You can't trust what they say. And if you can't trust what they say, you can't make predictions accurately, meaning that volatility goes off the charts and we see things swing up and down violently because no one knows what's going on. The Fed, are they telling the truth? Are they just saying what sounds good at the time? Are they actually planning something else? Are they saying what might keep the market afloat? Like, nobody knows what's going on, and you can't trust them. And they prove that you can't right now. So it's not about changing your mind. It's about trusting what they're saying is actually going to happen. So we got it. The Federal Reserve, the largest rate hike in 28 years. Kind of ridiculous to even think about that, but rates continued going up. The stock market probably continuing to go down for the foreseeable future. We'll see July 27th. That's the date. Market down. Whether or not the market is going to reverse and start the rally from there depends on that meeting, that inflation data, and that rate hike. So we'll see how it all goes. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'll see you guys in my next video.